Hi, this is Josh. I'm an Ayurvedic practitioner and a licensed acupuncturist, and today I want to talk to you about the diet to balance Vata dosha. So this is important if you have either a Vata prakriti, which is your constitution, or vikriti, which is your current imbalance. And if you're unsure which you have, you can always book a consultation with me as well as find some more information about the doshas on my website. So in Ayurveda, it's important to look at the doshas to determine what is out of balance in your body and then prescribe specific food and lifestyle practices to bring the doshas back to a more normal state. We all tend to become imbalanced in some way, and understanding this process for you individually is a lot like riding a bicycle and learning to keep yourself balanced and upright as different foods and circumstances come your way. So if you notice yourself feeling particularly antsy or not sleeping well, your memory is affected, you have dry skin, you seem to be getting a lot of gas and bloating, and your appetite is irregular, there's a really good chance that Vata is the predominant dosha in your system at that time. So Ayurveda often uses a system of opposites to treat the doshas, and in the case of Vata, which is already dry and light and cold and rough and mobile, we want to balance this out with their opposite qualities, which are unctuous or oily and warm, heavy, and stable. And when looking at foods, the flavors we want to favor for Vata are going to be sweet, sour, and salty, as these have the opposite qualitative features of Vata dosha. Sweet, unfortunately, doesn't mean a gallon of ice cream or a soda, but when we begin to analyze the flavors of the rasa of our food, as well as its thermostatic and post-digestive effects, we can really begin to develop a sense of what foods are going to be best for our physical and mental health. So some examples of vegetables we can look at for a Vata diet are sweet potatoes, beets, carrots, and most of the root vegetables, as they are very grounding and warming. Most of the dark leafy greens are also very good as long as they're cooked in oil or steamed. It's best to minimize a lot of the lighter vegetables such as broccoli, potatoes, asparagus, bell peppers, peas, as their qualities tend to increase an already elevated Vata. So a person with high Vata should eat mostly well-cooked foods in general, as their digestion can easily get overwhelmed with raw and cold foods. Vinegar dressing with some fresh lemon is also a really great simple hack to warm up the occasional raw salad you may eat and make sure your GI tract can properly digest it. So in this case too, it's also best to keep any raw vegetable portion of your meal to bare minimum and eat it ideally during lunchtime when your digestive strength is at its peak. Because of their nourishing and moist qualities, fruits are generally also really good for Vata, although because of the irregular digestive capacity Vata causes, again, it's best if fruits are eaten cooked or warmed up with some spices in some way. Cooked apples with cinnamon and ghee is a perfect example and makes a really delicious breakfast. Coconut, apricots, cherries, and mangoes are also some other good options for Vata. Dried fruits should generally be minimized, as well as overly cold fruits such as watermelon. Since Vata is already cold in nature, this will only further increase the Vata in the body. Sweet foods can come in the form of milk, dairy products, and rice as well, and these are typically good foods for Vata to eat. Again, it's important to make sure these are not served cold. Dairy, particularly on a weakened Vata digestion, will wreak some havoc and further complicate the picture. So small amounts of dairy is preferable, and this can look like warm milk in the morning or evening, small amounts of fresh and not heavy cheeses such as goat cheese or feta cheese, and white or brown rice with a good helping of ghee, salt, and some black pepper, as well as fresh yogurt. These are all great options for Vata. Meat also falls in this category. It's a bit of a misconception that Ayurveda only supports a vegetarian lifestyle. The ancient textbooks have many recipes for meat dishes, particularly when Vata dosha is strongly affected, as it grounds and gives suppleness to the dosha, which is light and often of variable strength already. So salty flavors are also very important. This is the easiest source of this, of course, is mineral or sea salt, and it's best to avoid the processed table salts. Miso and seaweed are also very excellent sources of the salty flavor and provide a delicious and easy to digest meal for Vata. The salty flavor builds body tissue and strengthens digestion while also being warming and soothing in nature, which is just what Vata needs. The sour flavor is also important for Vata, and the best source of this is citrus and acidic foods such as lemons, limes, pickles, sour cream, and most fermented foods. This also builds the body tissue, increases your appetite, promotes regular downward movement of the bowels, which is all very important when Vata is imbalanced. So in closing, again, what we want to do in Vata reducing diet is to favor well-cooked, warm foods, soups, stews. Most of the mushy foods are going to be best in this case. Our food should be in a quantity we are able to digest, and with Vata this is especially important. The Ayurvedic texts recommend a meal you can fit into 2 cupped hands, so your entire meal should fit just in about that much of a portion. Might be a little rough for some of us. Our meals should be prominent in the flavors of sweet, salty, and sour. I also always recommend a very tasty spice mixture called churna, which I'll put a link to in the notes. You can sprinkle this on your food and it goes really well with many different types of meals. Or you can take a teaspoon or so with a little hot water 20 minutes or so before a meal to stimulate the appetite and aid your digestion. And lastly, I'll leave you with 3 quick and easy tips to remember for reducing Vata. Number 1, little spice is very nice. So this will really help warm our food up and increase the digestive capacity, but overly spicy food should be avoided. So ginger, black pepper, cinnamon, garlic, and cumin are pretty simple spices that we can incorporate regularly into our meals to reduce Vata. Number 2, when in doubt, oil it out. Oil helps to ground Vata and reduces the effects of a meal that might otherwise be aggravating. Extra virgin olive oil or ghee both make great options for this. A good amount of protein and healthy fats is also really important to give some grounding sustenance. And number 3, routine a-lota, protect your Vata. So Vata thrives on a cycle of regularity, and planning your meals in this way will go a long way in helping to balance your Vata. Eat at the same time each meal, only eat what you can actually digest, chew your food well, and relax at least for a few minutes after you finish to give your system the time to focus on the digestive process. As always, if you'd like a more personalized consultation with me, you can reach me through my website. I hope this was helpful. From my Vata to yours, may we all be happy and healthy. Take care, everybody.